Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to restore this old Corgi Jnrs number 45, the Starsky and Hutch Gran Torino. These were produced from 1976 until 1980. Now I'm sure plenty of us used to watch Starsky and Hutch when we were younger, and I'm sure a lot of you owned this little toy car. And I also bet a lot of these cars never made it because they are not very sturdily built. There was also the 2004 Starsky and Hutch movie starring Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. I thought that was pretty hilarious. The towel scene and the cocaine scene. So taking a look at this example off of the turntable, it's definitely pretty rough, but most of it's there apart from the light on top and the white sticker basically. So it's in a good shape for a restoration. Yes, these cars are hardly the best of British. Look out, kitty. Ironically, there's 4 rivets holding in the relatively flimsy plastic base. They were probably cutting corners everywhere except for the guy on the riveting machine. Anyway, I drill these out with a 4mm drill and then I can take the car apart. They haven't overcomplicated things here with an interior. Just have the black windscreen. Now I can use some poly stripper to remove the paint from the casting. Here it is after paint stripping. Now I can give it a clean up with a wire brush on my rotary tool. I'll remove any oxidation. There isn't that much, it's actually in pretty good nick. And any scraps of paint that might have been left behind after paint stripping. I also take a little time to tidy up around the rivet posts with a straight burr on my rotary tool, just so that it's not too difficult to put the car back together later on. With the car all burnished and cleaned up, I give it a coat of white primer. I'm going to paint it in this red, but I think it's just a tad too bright, so I'm going to add just a drop of black to it. And a few drops of thinner. Now I've printed out these decal shapes on some white decal paper. I'm going to cut them out as best I can with a brand new scalpel blade. Now I am aware on the original car there was a thin black line around the decal, but I've cut inside the black line because I just don't think I can cut accurately enough to not leave little specks of white on the outside of the black line. And also from what I have known of these home printed decals, the thin black line being cut so close to the edge of the decal would tend to rub away a little bit and look a bit messy. so I've just left it as plain white decal paper. Here you can see how fiddly it was to get on, but in the end it went on really smoothly, and after it dried it conformed really well to the shape of the casting, and I didn't even have to use any microsol on it. I think this is because it was never printed and sprayed with decal bonder spray, so it was left as thin as it could ever be. Anyway, even without it being absolutely perfect, it was still very satisfying to put on the car. Moving on to the base. It's in good condition physically, it's just had a lot of the chrome worn off the bottom of it. I'm going to pop these old worn out wheels off and then I'll remove the chrome. I do this with a little bit of caustic soda and some hot water from the tap. It's not too hot. I just leave it in this solution for a couple of minutes, and as you can see, most of the chrome has just dissolved off and is floating on the top of the water. Here it is after a good rinse and a dry. Remember not to touch the caustic water solution or it'll give you a bit of a nasty burn. This old plastic almost looks like it's gone rusty. So here it is after a nice base coat of black. And then I finish it with some Vallejo metal colour chrome. With no wasteful interior to worry about, it's straight onto the windscreen. It's in pretty good nick, it's just got a bit of a scratch on the front there. I'm going to give it a light sanding with some 1200 grit sandpaper, and then I give it a good polish. And here it is after a polishing. It's looking pretty good, I think. Lastly, taking a look at the wheels. These old grotty Corgi wheels are fairly worn out, so I thought I'd replace them with these nice new ones. And so here are all of our parts refurbished and repainted and ready to go back together. I've salvaged this little orange light from an old broken Matchbox fire engine. It was a little bit too large to go through the hole in the top of the Torino, so I spent a while filing and sanding it down a little bit and then gave it a really thick coat of gloss. And now, as always, before we take a look at the finished car, let's just take a moment to look back and be reminded of what we started with. The classic old Starsky and Hutch Corgi Torino, missing its light, missing its white stripe, and looking thoroughly play-worn with chipped worn paint, worn out tyres, and missing chrome. And here it is, our finished, restored Corgi number 45, Starsky and Hutch Ford Gran Torino. It's had a nice new paint job, the white stripe has been replaced, it's got some nice new wheels to replace the old beaten up ones. The base has been re-chromed and it's had the light replaced. So I hope you like it. You can let me know what you think in the comments. I hope it brings back some memories of playing with these when you were kids. Be great to hear some stories. As always, I'll say a big thanks to everyone for the awesome comments and likes on my videos, and a big welcome to all of my new subscribers. And extra special thanks to my awesome Patreon supporters who help to support the channel. If you'd like to help too, you can check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description below. So now all that's left is for me to say thanks heaps for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.